Hi, Kara McKee here again. In this series of tutorials, I am covering how to use the iMovie app for the iPad to create science videos. This is part 2. In this segment, we will focus on manipulating visuals, adding photos and text to your iMovie project. Okay, here is another quick gesture that you can use that is useful. Let's drop a couple of images in here, and let's say that you would like to just remove an image or a clip. This works for anything that you've added to your timeline. Let's say that you would like to remove this image right here. You just press on it with your finger and you'll notice that it has become compressed. And as I move it out of the timeline, you'll see that there is a cloud that appears in the upper left-hand corner, and that means that it's targeted for removal. And if you just release your finger, it disappears. And you can do that with any, as I said, with any image or footage that you've added to your timeline. You also use that gesture by pressing on the clip until it compresses. You can then move it to another position in your timeline. And so I've moved that image now to a different position. Okay, I should mention here that you should plan to use your own photos and video footage to avoid any copyright issues. You may use clips and photos from public domain sites, such as government sites, but most other images on the web are copyrighted, even if it doesn't say so on the image. And if we look at my photo roll here, camera roll here, here's an image, for example, that is from a public domain site. I believe it's the Library of Congress. But there are plenty of government sites and similar sites that have images that are in the public domain. If you do get permission to use someone else's image, be sure to acknowledge them and follow any licensing agreement restrictions when you use that image. Another useful point is that if you want to undo a previous action, all you have to do is click the undo button, which is up in the upper right-hand corner, and it will undo the previous action, which in this case was to add that photo. And you can keep doing this all the way back to the beginning of your project. Another useful gesture that you can use is to compress all of your clips in the timeline, and you just use your pinch gesture to compress the size of your clips. Now, this does not change the duration, because if you play the clip, it plays at the correct duration. What this does is it just compresses all of your clips so that you can more easily see what you've added, and then you can expand back out to the original length of that clip and see the entire clip. Okay, let's now see how to add titles and themes. First, let's take a look at titles. If we tap twice on the clip where you wish to add text, the box appears, and because I've tapped on a photo, it says Photo Settings. And you'll notice the top line says Title Style. And if we select that, you see that there are 4 options here. None, an opening text, a middle text, and an ending text. And what we're going to do now is we'll select the opening text, and you see what happens is a text box then appears in your viewer window. And if you touch within that text box, a cursor appears and your keyboard pops up. So let's type in a title. And again, all you have to do to close this text box is to touch outside of it and touch again, and your keyboard disappears. Let's move along a bit, and let's perhaps add some text to this clip, and you'll notice that it now says clip settings. And if we select title style and we select middle, again a text box appears right here, and we can type in some text. And so now we've got an opening text, a middle text, and if we go all the way down to the end, let's say that we're going to add some ending text. And now we are ready to look at different themes and which to select for your project. We go back to the beginning. You'll notice up at the top here there is a settings button. If we select that, you will now see a number of options for project settings, and you'll see that the one I've been working with is called Simple. But let's take a look at some of the other options, and you can scroll through those, and let's take a look at this particular option. This is a much bolder option, and you can see what that looks like. And as it moves through, you can see what it does with the middle text, and if we scroll all the way down to the end, you can see what it does with the end text. And if you want to pick some other option, let's see, this is one that is a possibility, and you see how it opens up. This is an option. This iNews is an option, particularly if you want to do some kind of science travel log. You have an option actually of showing where in the world you are doing your video, and you can highlight that geographic location. And in this case, let's say the location is New Zealand, and it gives you that option. And let's see what happens. And you can see that what it's done is it's pinpointed the location of your video as New Zealand, and you can see it's got the world here, and there's New Zealand. And this is how it's going to look like as it plays and opens up. And this is what the middle text looks like here, and then going all the way down to the end, this is what the ending text might look like. So that's how you add text to your video. And that's it for part 2. In part 3, I will cover audio, adding voiceover, music, and sound effects to your iMovie project.